Welcome all to the Pro Football Radio Podcast. This is your co-host Jay Chima with the pride and joy of Merrimack, New Hampshire, the Puma Podcast 162, NFL Week 3. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. It's great to be back. Another week in the books, and our boy Imposing Chris is in the chat. God bless that man. If you stick around the whole time, it sounds like I might owe you a beer. But no, I'm doing good, man. A lot of heavy favorites, a lot of chalk took the L this week, and you know who that affected? Me. That's who. Puma Bets wasn't that great, but I'll tell you what. As much as it sucks, I don't really feel that bad because not only did I take a bath, everybody else out there took a bath this weekend. Thoughts and prayers to anybody that had the Ravens in their survivor pool. Thoughts and prayers to anyone like me that had the Colts heavily on that Green Bay Packers game. I guess you should just put Matt LaFleur in the Hall of Fame because he got something out of Malik Willis that nobody else could.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm doing okay. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. A long day at work. Time to crack open a cold one, and by cold one, I mean a delicious Sprite. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, there it is. There it is.
Yup. Good time. So how is that Sprite? Does it slap?
Oh man, it hits, man. I tell you what, Sprite so underrated, man. Sprite, Coca-Cola, just clean, crisp, refreshing. You don't gotta get all fancy with it. So yeah. All right, man. Listen, we've got a lot to talk about. Let's light this bad boy. Week 3 of the NFL season is already upon us. Some key matchups are shaking up this upcoming weekend, and it starts out on Thursday Night Football with my 1-1 New England Patriots traveling down to New Jersey to take on the 1-1 New York Jets. The Patriots are coming off of an overtime loss to the Seattle Seahawks, in which they played a very close, contested game. And the New York Jets are coming off of a win against the Tennessee Titans, and Will Levis just throwing up on himself, basically, is what the gist of that game was, right? It's funny because, like, any single time Red Zone, like, goes over to the Tennessee Titans game, I 100% know it's a pick six or some ridiculous play by Will Levis.
That's so true.
Right. It's like, oh, the Titans are up on Red Zone. I wonder why,
I do got to say, I did enjoy that clip of Callahan after the fumble from stupidity. That was some Daniel Jones nonsense. But he just looked and was like, what the fuck? I was like, he just said what everybody in the Western world wanted to say to Will. I put mayo in my coffee, Levis. What a doofus.
Yeah, what a dink. What a dink. Yeah. Yep. All right. So who you got winning this game, bro? Patriots, Jets. Thursday Night Football.
Thursday Night Football. I lean to the Jets, but I mean, I don't feel that confident. Mayo is at the helm. It's not Bill Belichick, but that defense is still playing hard. I mean, hell, they were froggy in that Seahawks game. So like that's 2 games in a row that they went balls to the wall in the grand scheme of things. But I'm gonna go with the Jets here. I think, Aaron Rodgers at the helm. It's light years different from what they rolled out the last couple of years. Even though he's on his ayahuasca retreat, maybe we'll see like a Breece Hall breakout game. He was involved. I believe he found pay dirt once or twice on Sunday against the Titans. And even with the defense with Tremaine Johnson, he tore his Achilles on Sunday. They're a little bit thin on the defensive line, but I guess, I love Brissett. He is what he is. I think he's just going to have to take one for the team here. I don't think you're going to see Drake May unless, homeboy gets beheaded out there by Quinnen Williams. But I'm going to lay it. I would lay it with the Jets. Personally, I'm not going to bet it because I don't want to put my money on this game. But I lean to the Jets and laying it with the points at home, especially with it being the home opener at MetLife. So I'll go with that.
Yeah, listen, ultimately, we both agree the Jets are going to win this game, right? Conventional wisdom says they're the better team, better quarterback. But what I do want to hit on the Patriots real quick is, I tell you what, though, man, it's this team is playing for Gerard Mayo. And I think that says a lot to how they felt about the previous head coach, right? there's a level of readiness. When's the last time the Patriots in itself were able to win a home opener or opener in general, right? It's
Right.
been what, 3-4 years. And I like what I'm seeing out of Gerard Mayo, man. He's got these boys playing hard, they're fast, they're playing loose. Honestly, to be real with you, man, they're like a good quarterback away from being a good football team, in my opinion, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
fundamentally sound. They don't, you understand that like we haven't had a turnover yet. And penalty wise, we've had like 8 penalties in a span of like 2 games, which is like
Uh-huh.
one of the lowest in the NFL, right? So it's good, clean football, and we're playing good. It's just that our quarterback play is just atrocious, right? Our passing attack is atrocious. Our defense is great. Our special teams are great. Our running game is great. Our pass game is absolutely atrocious, right? So, and that comes down to, our boy. Pat's covering. Let's go. Let's go. But I mean, ultimately, like that comes down to the fact that the Patriots just need to get better in the passing game, man. Like they've got to find a way to scheme open, whether it's Pop Douglas or Javon Polk or Hunter Henry. And part of the issue is if you look at that Seattle Seahawks game, Puma, that first half, like Jacoby Brissett was cooking. Like Hunter Henry had like 112 yards or whatever it was. Second half, the Seahawks basically started flooding the middle, said that we're going to take away Hunter Henry. What are you going to do now? And then Jacoby Brissett is just a
Just a
loser
guy.
quarterback, man. He's
He's
one
a
of those guys. You know what I'm saying? He just couldn't adjust on the fly. They took away his number one toy, and next thing you know, he had no idea what to do. Right. So,
mm-hmm.
how much is that on Max Van Pelt? How much is that on coaching? How much is that on just Jacoby Brissett being a bad quarterback? Simple as that, right? So ultimately, what I'm trying to get at is the Jets are going to win, but don't be surprised if the Patriots cover. Make it froggy, keep it close.
Yeah. No, I can buy it. Listen, if anything, if we learned anything from week 2, whatever you expect, just expect the unexpected. Because I didn't have Nick Sirianni just completely short circuiting with less than 2 minutes to go last night. It's a bizarro world. It's just only going to get weirder in Thursday night football now that we're getting into the nitty gritty of the TNF football schedule. Is definitely going to be the bewitching hour, in the words of Chris Hansen.
Yes. Overall, what have you seen out of Aaron Rodgers in his 2 games, right? And to give you what I've seen so far, I think he looks okay. I don't think he looks like he's a world beater. I think if he continues this level of play, the team is going to be 8-9 wins, right? And that's saying something because we had expectation of this team going to the AFC Championship game and going to the Super
Their
Bowl.
win total was 10.5. Like
Right.
that is a AFC East division winner. Anything north
Exactly, right. So expectations are division winner in the AFC Championship game, Super Bowl, right? And the level of play of quarterback that we've gotten out of Aaron Rodgers through 2 weeks is not that, right?
Nope.
Simply put, he is a quarterback that is really living on his past legacy, right? I don't see it from him as much as I used to in the past. Yeah, sure, he can still spin the ball, he can throw a pretty ball, but like there's something there that's missing. And it's only 2 games, so it's not time to overreact yet. And Thursday will tell us a lot about it, right? But what have you seen out of Aaron Rodgers so far, and what do you assess of his 2-game stint so far?
I'm more or less the same in the same boat as you. I mean,
Let's go Hercules.
Yeah, Freddie Hercules. But for Aaron Rodgers and kind of the analysis through 2 games, I mean, their building is located on one Jets Drive in Florham Park, New Jersey. I mean, really, he only had one good drive against the San Francisco 49ers where it kind of looked vintage. But I mean, I was at work on Sunday and kind of getting throttled in between moments. But, there were times where it just looked like, A-Rod was just kind of dinking and dunking his way down the field. Like he wasn't torching the Tennessee secondary. I mean, granted, he's 42, 43. 40. So like, we're not going to see Aaron Rodgers rolling out and making the off-platform throws. But with that being said, that is kind of what people have in mind of when they see Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. And it's like, oh, we're going to get the hero ball. Not like he's still coming off that Achilles injury. I mean, we saw it last night still to a point with Kirk Cousins, where like the first half, it really didn't look like he wanted to push into that ball and into that throw off his back leg. as the game went on and when the balls were against the wall, like he had to step in and make some big boy throws. Maybe as he gets more familiar with the offensive line and the cadence and all that stuff and what Nathaniel can't Hackett wants to do on this offense, maybe he'll start looking a little bit more crisp, a little bit more vintage A-Rod. But, if I had to give it a grade, I guess, I'm not going to bury him, but like, I'm not just going to give him like, an A for Dinkin and Duncan. So I guess, we'll split the difference and call it like a B minus. Like, there's still a lot more to be desired, especially if you're going to be what everyone's penciling you in as an AFC, division contender.
Yeah, spot on, right? He's right there, B minus, C, middle of the pack kind of quarterback, right? Nothing to write home about. So, yeah, it'll be a fun game Thursday night. Looking forward to it. Let's move on to the 0-2 Baltimore Ravens traveling down to Jerry World to take on the Dallas Cowboys. And Puma, what do I always say about Lamar Jackson? What do I always say about Lamar Jackson? Listen, I don't like kicking a man. I don't like kicking a man when he's down, but he's a running back. he's a glorified running back, all right? He is a glorified running back.
And here we go.
Am I wrong, though? Am I wrong? Am I wrong in any capacity?
I mean, let me put it to you this way. They were a 9.5-point favorite at home against Gardner Minshew and the Las Vegas Raiders. And yet they blew a 10-point lead at home against Gardner Minshew.
He does that a lot, right? He does that a lot.
And the Raiders. And it's like, okay, you're going to be motivated. Maybe this was the wake-up call that you needed because maybe losing on the road in Arrowhead and trying to make excuses for your tight end not having the foot in bounds. Maybe this is a wake-up call, but the problem is they're getting a Dallas Cowboys team that just got pantsed at home by Derek Broken Carr. I mean, he looked like Maserati car, just any like Lexus car, like anything. He didn't look like the Derek Carr that we know and love of speaking of dinking and dunking. That guy was just straight up check down Charlie for most of his career with the Raiders. And now, Alvin Kamara has a sighting, gets like 4 touchdowns. Thoughts and prayers to anybody that faced him in fantasy last week. But I mean, with all said and done, I mean, the Ravens are going to stick to what has got them to where they are, which is run the football. Dallas has been brutal at stopping the run. But the problem is on the other side, Baltimore really can't stop the pass. Like they have their own issues, and now they're going to face, hopefully a pass-happy offense in Dallas this week with CeeDee Lamb, and I don't think Ferguson's going to be – I think he might even be on IR. So, some other people are going to have to step up. Maybe Brandon Cooks has a pop game. But I think you're going to see a lot of big plays from the Dallas side of things to just prove a point and say, yeah, last week was just a hiccup, but we're still in this. We still them boys. I mean, the Cowboys are, last I looked, I think they're like a point and a half dog at home. I mean, I can't back Baltimore after they blow a 10-point lead to the Raiders. And now all of a sudden they're going to go into Jerry World after they just got embarrassed by the Saints and they're going to win outright. Like, nah, I'll take the point. It's essentially a pick 'em. I'll take Dallas.
And I'll take Dallas as well. But let me ask this question. Who's the better football team?
Oh God. I might have to,
it's toss up, right? Toss up, right?
Yeah.
Toss up, right? And who's the better quarterback?
I mean,
oh, come on.
Slight edge to Dak.
Exactly, right? And that's the reason why we're picking the Cowboys to win this game. And like I said this in the summer, and it was a hot take, and I don't think you gave me any pushback for it, but I truly believe we're starting to see the end of Lamar Jackson. Like, I think we've seen the prime of Lamar Jackson. Like, I will go on record right now and say we have seen the best Lamar Jackson a couple of years ago, and that's it. Like, it won't get any better than what it is. And why I say that is because you're starting to see somebody in Lamar Jackson who's not sure what he's good at anymore, right? Like, he always could rely on what? He can rely on his running attack, right?
Someone clip this.
Listen, I'm more than happy. I am more than happy to have somebody clip this. But all I'm saying is if you take away his running ability, what else is there? And you're starting to see it deteriorate. You're starting to see him get slower. You saw that game against the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Where I always pointed out to you, you couldn't run away from the defender, right? If you're starting to slow down now, then what can you rely on, right? And this is the old thing that Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant always said, like, hey, listen, your athleticism will go away eventually. Do you got a jumper to make up for it, right? And what's his jumper? What's Lamar Jackson's jumper? He can't read a defense. He can't go through his progressions. He can't put in tight windows. He literally had his running attack, and that's all he had. So, like, go ahead and clip this, but I will stand on this. And until I'm proven wrong, Lamar Jackson is a glorified running back. Glorified running back. Prove me wrong.
So I just have to ask. I think I'm asking on behalf of our boys, Imposing Chris and Hercules 603. Do you have a statue of Bill Polian in your closet as like a shrine?
What am I lying about? Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. What have I said about Lamar Jackson that's not true? Huh? Is he a running back at quarterback? Yes, he is, right? Has he won a Super Bowl? No, he hasn't. Has he made it far enough in the playoffs where you're like, you know what? He actually had a chance of winning. We all knew with that Chiefs game, there was no way in hell that Lamar Jackson was going to be able to outduel Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. Like, all I'm saying is, when the rubber meets the road and it's 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 10 and you got to pass and everybody in the stadium knows you got to pass to win, you're not going to be able to do it. Like, you saw it. You saw that interception he threw in the AFC Championship game. All I'm saying is he is not a strong enough quarterback to essentially be able to pick you apart from the quarterback. He's a running back. Simple as that. Glorified running back. I'll stand on that. I'll stand on that hill, okay? Okay.
Oh man, I know one of these two guys is going to clip it. It's going to be great. I love
I'm just tired of the excuse making for Lamar Jackson, right? Okay, so let's get rid of Greg Broman, all right? Let's bring in somebody that can modify this offense so we can throw like crazy, right? Cool. So last year they went to Todd Monken to start throwing the football around, right? Realize this year, holy crap, maybe he can't throw as much as he wants to. So now we're reverting back to a running first style, right? You're starting to see somebody sway back and forth. And when you can't figure out who you are as a quarterback in the NFL, that tells me you've got a massive weakness in your game that you're trying to figure out a way to find out where you can fit in, but you got nothing. All he's got is the ability to run. And right now you're trying to see him slow down with that running as well. He's trying to compensate for it. He's trying to put his head down and try to get that extra yard. He's only going to get himself hurt. But go ahead. Hey, I'll stand on it. Lamar Jackson, bum. Lamar Jackson, done.
Wow. All right. That'll help the YouTube algorithm. Love it.
All right. Let's move on to Monday Night Football. We've got speaking of bad quarterbacks, the 0-2 Trevor Lawrence-led Jacksonville Jaguars traveling up to Buffalo to take on the 2-0 Buffalo Bills. And speaking of good quarterbacks, in my personal opinion, the MVP so far through 2 weeks, Josh Allen. We got winning this game.
Buffalo at home. I just, I wore it last week. One of my best bets was the over in that game. Man, we were going over. We were going over that total, baby. We were going to cash that.
And then Tua met his maker for a few seconds.
We were going to cash that with ease. It was going to be great. And then he got this idea that he just had to do his best Chris Benoit diving headbutt into Damar Hamlin, which, of course, the one guy in the secondary that I pick on.
He was holding him up. He wasn't even doing anything. Damar Hamlin was just that's the thing about Tua. I'm sorry to cut you off here, but we've seen quarterbacks take much more vicious hits.
He led with the head.
Dude, we see that type of hit by an NFL quarterback every Sunday. The worst part about this Tua situation is that he gets concussed on hard throws and he gets concussed on on hard hits, and then also get concussed on soft pillowy hits as well. He's not built for the NFL. I'm at that point now. You feel
me? Well, we'll see him out there probably in 6 weeks with a Guardian cap on. But I was so pissed because then that cratered and nobody scored. And Skylar Thompson just, in his defense, he just put the helmet on and just tried to do what he could. But anywho, back to this game. I like the Bills here. I think, they cemented their place in the AFC after that beatdown of that Dolphins offense at home in prime time. Josh Allen looks like Josh Allen of old. I was kind of surprised he had a really clean game last week. Like I was expecting like a turnover. Didn't think he was going to pull a Tua with 3 of them, but I definitely expected a pick. But he's been playing relatively clean football through 2 weeks. James Cook looks dynamic as hell. This defense, as much as I was kind of burying them for the secondary taking a big step back, they really stepped forward and they shut down the track team known as the Miami Dolphins. And now I guess, kind of a little bit of a revenge game for Gabe Davis, right? Like he leaves, he goes to Jacksonville in the offseason. Obviously the wide receiver room on paper looks like, it took a step back without him there. But I mean, look at what they did the last week. And then in that shootout against Arizona at home, I'll take it with the Bills. The Jags, to me, like, I don't know what they are. And this is like what, year 2 of Doug Peterson, year 3. And Trevor Lawrence doesn't look like he's taking any steps forward. If anything, he's taking a step back. I just can't, I can't get behind the Jags right now.
So 2 things with this Bills team, and I want to get to this question by imposing Chris here in a second because I have a hot take on that as well that you might want to clip. But Von Miller, right, is as good as he's ever been, right? It's only been like 2 weeks, but he looks like he's back to his original form. Looks like he's going to essentially be a massive, massive player for the Buffalo Bills defense.
Sorry. That was great because it's so true, Chris.
100%. And then on top of that, I think what I liked about this past week's game against the Miami Dolphins was they won without Josh Allen to be the superhero, right? Josh Allen had a pedestrian game, right? But they were able to run the ball effectively, play good defense, and win the football team. Now, this question that opposing Chris posed here was Diggs the problem, right? And I have this theory that the star number 1 wide receiver in the NFL is overrated. Simply put, overrated. It's the star wide receiver number 1 is great for selling tickets, but in reality, when you are relying on a wide receiver of that caliber to help you win football games, it usually implodes. And the reasoning behind it is when Tyreek left the Kansas City Chiefs, what do we all think was going to happen?
Oh, they're going to fall off the cliff. They're never going to win again.
Patrick Mahomes has never looked better because he doesn't have to constantly look towards one wide receiver, right? He's won 2 Super Bowls. When Tom Brady, when Randy Moss left the 07-08 Patriots or whatever it was, Tom Brady didn't. There's no drop off at all. He basically started throwing to Gronk and Wes Walker, and everything was totally fine. When Calvin Johnson retired and Matthew Stafford didn't lock onto him, his numbers got better as well, right? And now you're seeing Matthew Stafford with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp putting up all kinds of numbers, right? So my bigger point being here, I think Josh Allen is not going to take a step back this year. I think Josh Allen, for what it's worth, is probably going to win the MVP and probably be even better because that number 1 wide receiver is a fallacy. I just think it's just a straight up fallacy in the NFL, bro. I think you are much more. There's a better chance of you succeeding if you have a group of wide receivers that you don't have to lock in on. The ball travels to where it's open, and the number 1 wide receiver is already, in my opinion. So go ahead and clip that as well.
No, I mean, I think we're actually agreeing on this one. I mean, I heard it on TNF last week when Dead Man Walking, known as Al Michaels, who, good God, that is just a man that sounds like he's there for a paycheck and just wants to leave. But anywho, there was a stat, I think, over the last 3 years, Stephon Diggs led the NFL in targets. And that's all just because, if you don't feed him the ball, he's going to get pissy and you're going to get the antics, which, by the way, I kind of want to see how that's going to go in Houston because I think through 2 games, he has, 6 targets with 4 catches or something like that. It's an absurdly low number when you figure in like, oh, Stephon Diggs is going there and they're going to the Super Bowl. Like he's not putting up those type of numbers, which is quasi hilarious to me. But to that point, like he looks more like a complete pass. The way I describe it is, remember when Cole Beasley went there? I don't think Stephon Diggs was there yet. I think he went the following offseason, but they did the free agent signings and they brought Cole Beasley in. And I know Cole Beasley is a clown now, but when they signed Beasley, I said straight verbatim to you on one of these episodes way back when I said, this is going to be great for Josh because it's going to make him be a more complete passer and try to get the underneath routes And the defense is literally going to have to play the whole field instead of trying to drop 8 and take the over-the-top stuff and make you try to dink and dunk your way through, which at the time you couldn't throw the football, the short and intermediate routes. I think now that Stefon's gone to Houston, we're going to see like that version of Josh 2.0 again with, you have the speedster and Keon Coleman, but you also have the Cole Beasley-esque guy in Khalil Shakir and Dalton Knox and Dalton Kincaid, who's, going to supplant Knox at this point, because I don't even know how many routes Knox ran last week on TNF, but you're going to see more usage of the tight ends. You're going to see James Cook more involved in the passing game. These are going to be more, mouths that you can distribute the food to and not just have to force feed that one guy anymore. And I'm right there with you. I think he's going to take another step forward and progress as a quarterback and probably finally punch his ticket as the MVP of the league.
Let's go, Josh Allen. All right. Enough with the game previews. The best segment in all the nation, sweeping the land. Puma Bets is here. Take your mortgage out and put on the Puma Bets. Let's go.
Well, after last week, I'm gonna advocate for betting responsibly. Gambling should be fun. If it's a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I'm just obligated to say that at this point. But anywho, so back to the Puma Bets. Like I said from the top, last week was a bloodbath. The public took a beating, but this time the public strikes back. So right now, I have 2 plays for the NFL, 2 plays for college. But if you subscribe to my Dub Club subscription service, it's 2 to 4 plays a day for $8 a month. You'll get plays, you'll get analysis in real time. Jay, you can attest. I'm putting plays out there at midnight. I'm putting plays out there while I'm at work. You whenever the grind never stops. So you always get the you always get the notification. You'll beat the juice. You'll get the better number. So for the NFL, let's look at the Detroit Lions -2.5. I got it at -118 on DraftKings. I think it's probably still available. I think the juice might be on the move though, but I like the Lions here. Bounce back spot. They lost outright at home as a 7.5 point favorite to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but it did get a little bit interesting at the end of the game. Aiden Hutchinson was an absolute savage, but I think how many sacks did he get? Like 4.5. But I do like this. Yeah, I do like this bounce back spot against the Arizona Cardinals here. The Cardinals have been a great story, but now they're going to have a more pissed off version of the Detroit Lions here. I think you'll see, back to basics. We'll get, Montgomery involved. We'll get Jahmyr Gibbs involved. Jameson Williams. We'll get back to basics with the offensive side of the football here. And I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock in Arizona curb stomping the Rams because everybody short of Sean McVay's, mother was inactive with injury last week. So, now you're going to face a relatively healthy and motivated Detroit Lions team. I don't care if they're on the road. I will lay the 2.5, even at -118 for under 3 is a great number. So if you like Detroit, I get it now before it starts getting moved up to 3.5 here. Next on the docket, we're gonna head to my freaking phone will work.
I got it right here if you want to pull it up.
Sick. Actually, I only have one football game, NFL game. Okay. The rest is college. Okay. So we're gonna head to Utah. We're going to go to Stillwater, Oklahoma, and I'm going to lay the short number with the Utah Utes on the road against Oklahoma State. I'm factoring in that Cam Rising is going to be playing. I am rolling that dice. There's been a lot of promising reports that Cam Rising, the 7th-year senior, at this point, is he going for his doctorate at Utah? I don't understand. But he's going. He should be back at the helm for the Utah Utes. It's going to be a tough road game, but I do like that their pass rush could probably get home against Oklahoma State and their quarterback who's been balling out. But the reason why he's been balling out is they can't seem to figure out a way to get their star running back Heisman candidate going into the season, Ollie Gordon II, to try to get him to run the football. I think through 3 weeks, he's averaging 3 yards a clip with only 4 touchdowns on the ground. Everyone's figuring that this is going to be a bounce back and a blow up spot for Ollie Gordon. I'm not buying that. I think Kyle Whittingham is still going to figure out a way to take the passing game away and say, all right, like if you're going to try to beat us, I want to see for myself that Ollie Gordon is actually going to be able to run through and break off some explosive plays. They have given up yards on the ground, but again, I have faith in Kyle Whittingham figuring it out. With at 1.5 on the road, almost a pick 'em. I'll take the Utah Utes to win and cover in this Big 12 matchup, which, by the way, we didn't have any upsets last week really in college football. So now you're getting college football playoff implications with these two Big 12 guys going at it. Like if they, one of these guys loses in the Thunderdome on Saturday, even if the other team wins out, they're going to be one of those bubble teams on the outside looking in for that 12th playoff spot. So we're now getting into the interesting part of the college football landscape. And then next, finally, for college football this time, we're going to go to a little Friday Night Lights, and we are going to go to Illinois versus Nebraska. Jay, who would have thought this would be like almost a marquee game? Right?
Nobody would have thought this.
They're both 3-0. Illinois looks great. Their defense is great. You have Dylan, Baby Mahomes, Raiola imitating everything about that kid. I do have to say, like the haircut, like the number, like how he's trying to walk, like it's starting to get a little weird with Raiola. I'm not gonna lie, but
a little weird.
I do like Illinois here. I like Illinois getting I got it at 9 earlier in the week. I do think the line moved a smidge, maybe by half a point, maybe a point down to 8. But I do like Illinois in this spot on the road. Their defense has been great. I mean, they really had an impressive outing against Kansas 2 weeks ago, and their defense really hasn't allowed more than a touchdown in a game. Now, granted, we can look at the competition and say, okay, outside of Kansas, like who did you really play? All right, fair enough. But the same can kind of be said to Dylan Raiola and the Nebraska Cornhuskers, because right now, like their only air quote marquee win is against Colorado that couldn't block anybody. So we're going to see what Dylan Raiola can do against a much more improved defensive unit in the Illinois Fighting Illini. Illinois quarterback has been spinning the ball really well as well, too. They've been running the ball a lot. So I do like, with such a low total, like 43.5 in college is kind of weird. We're starting to look at some service academy numbers from back in the day. But I do think Illinois will be able to keep Raiola in check. Nebraska is going to be able to keep the Illini in check. So I do like the under a 43.5 in this game. But give me the points in Illinois +9 on the road in Lincoln. And honestly, this might be a little money line sprinkle later on in the week. So we'll bookmark that Illinois +9.
Okay, so there's a couple of good games this weekend that I wanted to point out to you and maybe get your quick analysis on. We've got the first one being USC Michigan. What's your take on that so far?
USC is the better football team. Like, I don't even know what the number is, but even on the road in the big house, like Michigan still has a quarterback problem, and USC can finally tackle.
Spreads right here, down here, -6 USC.
I might wait. I lean towards USC laying the points. I'd have to look into a bit more, but I mean, we saw what Texas did. I'm not saying USC is Texas by any stretch of the imagination, but the aura of, oh man, you got to go to the big house and win. No way. Like maybe if Jim Harbaugh was still there, I believe that, but Sharon Moore isn't inspiring any confidence in me. Their defense is great, but you have two quarterbacks. You have no quarterback. They don't know what offense they're trying to run. They need to pick a lane, but I like USC there.
This spread right here, LSU by 24, is one of the ridiculous, like, it's a stupid spread, man. Just take UCLA at that point, man, because LSU's not that good. Simple as that.
Another good one.
This Tennessee-Oklahoma game is going to be fun, man. Really fun. It's going to be a good time. Tennessee 7. Oof, that's interesting.
And Norman, too. The other good one, too, is might not be good, but from a betting angle, it might be, is Cal going on the road to Tallahassee. Like, are they going to roll DJU out? Like, the Florida State team got manhandled by Memphis because they lost their starting right tackle, their starting left tackle. Like, I have to look at the injury reports. Like, if they're still going to be out, like, I'll probably take Cal straight up on the money line as a money line sprinkle, because they could probably go on the road in Tallahassee and win. but I kind of want to see what the injury report or lack thereof, because there are no injury reports in college, and just try to read the tea leaves and see.
And the Buckeyes got a 40-point spread. Another cupcake game. I'm ready for the regular season. Like, I'm actually ready for like a good Ohio State like matchup to come down the pike. Like, we're just playing cupcakes. But that about yes, sir.
Real quick, another one. Yes. It's Thursday Night Lights. Who would have thought Kyle McCord would be 3-0 with Syracuse?
I know. Isn't that a funny story? It's that's quite interesting to see that Kyle McCord is kind of balling right now, man. Like
I just don't know if I have enough confidence to lay 9.5 points with Syracuse against Stanford. Granted, Stanford has their own problems, but putting faith in Otto the Orange with more than a touchdown seems a little horrifying to me.
What's I've been workshopping a take that I don't want to roll out just yet, but it goes along the lines of Ryan Day doesn't know how to develop quarterbacks. The quarterbacks that he has success with were like, all right, CJ Stroud, go see the NFL, all of a sudden starts balling out, right? You've got Kyle McCord last year in our system with great talent, not the best, right? And Kyle McCord this year is lighting it up, right? So I'm saying it's not a fully baked take just yet, but I think we can add potentially bad developer of quarterbacks to the long list of deficiencies that Ryan Day has as a head coach. So circle back with me on that in a few weeks, and we'll talk about that some more.
Sounds good. And me being an idiot, forgot to plug a little special for podcast exclusive listeners only.
Let's do this.
So my Dub Club, it's 2 to 4 plays, getting those picks, plays 2 to 4 times, 2 to 4 plays a day. What I want to do, hook you guys up, is if you use promo code podcast at checkout, you'll get 25% off your first month. Then after that, it's $8 a month. Sometimes you spend that on coffee every day. And yes, I'm talking to you, Jay Chuba. $8
lattes for life.
For 2 to 4 plays a day. Any sport, college football, baseball. We're getting to the best part of the baseball season, which is the postseason. So hit the subscribe button. The link to my profile is on my Twitter page at Brando_Puma. You remember, code podcast at checkout.
All right, brother. You want to plug it up and call it a day?
Yeah, and this episode of the Pro Football Radio Podcast and previous episodes of the Pro Football Radio Podcast are found on YouTube, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, anywhere where you get your podcasts from. Be sure to leave a 5-star review. We're also streaming live on YouTube and Twitch. Be sure to hit the subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get notified when the latest videos are live and ready for your consumption in the feed.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Vaya con Dio.